What's up, everybody? It's your boy Warbucks, and welcome to the Real Review. I want to talk about the movie Sinners. I saw this movie a couple times in theaters. Really great movie. Got a lot of symbolism, a lot of deep things going in here. So to kick this thing off, I got to go into the history. We got to talk about Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, because these two are a match made in heaven, man. Let me tell you, these guys really be literally killing it when it comes to films. They're kind of like Spike Lee and Denzel, or like all the many other director, lead actor pairs that you get to see. I think the first time I noticed these two working together was a movie called Fruitvale Station. And it was a really good movie. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, okay, so this guy Ryan Coogler is not afraid to talk about race and do it this way. And that was my first little inclination into him. And then when I seen him do the movie Creed after that, of course, with Michael B. Jordan again, I was like, wow, okay, this dude is really, really talented. Like, he just keeps leveling up each movie. I'm just super impressed. I think he also did Creed 2, and then he also did Black Panther. And then he continued on into Sinners. And when I saw the movie Sinners, I was like really, really, really impressed. Really, really great movie. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are leveling up together. Michael B. Jordan is playing a twin in this movie. He's playing two characters, and it feels like two characters. It doesn't feel like one person pretending to be two people. And I was very impressed with that. The southern accent is a little shaky, but hey, that's minor. The rest of the movie is really, really good. Another thing I noticed about this movie is the quality of how it looked. The cinematography was really, really great on a lot of these scenes. I believe Ryan Coogler said that he went to his mentor, Christopher Nolan, and he gave him a lot of advice on ways to shoot this movie. And he's also working with this great cinematographer who also worked with him on Black Panther. And I thought the color schemes, when you look at the two twin characters and you look at the colors of their ties, it's like a representation of how those characters are. You got your blue tie, your red tie, and you got the different type of suits that they're wearing when you first see them. There's actually some backstory on the twin characters about how they were from the area they were in, and they went to Chicago to secretly work for these two gangs to kind of turn them against each other and steal a bunch of their money. And then they took that money and brought it back to where they were from to go and start their own business. And so these guys are just straight from the very beginning of the movie when you first see these guys. And this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie Sinners, you might want to stop this right now and cut this off and come back after you've seen the movie. So he, Michael B. Jordan's characters, from the very beginning when they first showed him, they meeting with this guy to buy this place that they're trying to build into a club. And from the very beginning, they warned them, hey, better not be no mess over here. And they show the guns just to show you the type of characters you dealing with. These are not nobody to play with. It is a very good movie. These guys are dangerous. The movie is called Sinners, and it's full of sinners, full of them. And so they're very good at talking to people, negotiating people. There's very good scenes in this movie. When they decide to split up, and one of them goes and he talks to a little girl to get him to watch a truck, tells her to blow the horn if anybody takes anything off the back of the truck. And he asks the girl how much she wants, and then she says how much she wants. She said that's not enough. And then he teaches her the power of negotiating and leveraging for more money. I thought that was very powerful and very, very dope, because he did not have to do that. Could have took advantage of that little girl easily. And then he goes in and negotiates, with the Asians, which is also very accurate for that time period, because the Asians had stores where they did business with black and white people, and they had those two, the Asian people that he came in that he knew from when he used to be there before, had two different shops, one where the woman stayed in, where the white people went, and one where the male ran and the black people came in and shopped. And I thought it was just really, really cool, really great dynamic. And then when he comes back to the shop, you see this really funny scene where he's shooting this guy, his behind and his leg for trying to steal from him. And he knows the guys, which just shows you more about his character. These guys are criminals. They're dangerous. They were thieves. And you get more backstory about their character as the story progresses. You find out that daddy used to beat them and tear them up. And one of the twins killed one of their dads. And then you meet their cousin early into the movie. He's in church with his father praying, and on the weekends he likes to go out and play his guitar, and you know you just want to get away from that church life and just play guitar and love music, and he has his passion. I just thought the movie was just very, very great. I think the cinematography, the way the color schemes look, all the actors are doing a great job. And you kind of get a good outlook at the accuracy of the time back then and black folks. And this movie was definitely made for African Americans, for us, and for our people. And a lot of the things that we probably dealt with back in the day, it's a very racial. It's a lot of racial things going on, but it's not like the oversight of the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh my God, we're poor, we're being prejudiced, people being prejudiced against us. No, it's black people out here trying to thrive, trying to make it better, and trying to do the best we can with what we got going on in society at that time period with all the racist things going on. And I love that wasn't like the main focus of the movie, but it was still there. You know, it was still a good undertone. And so Ryan Coogler does a good job with that. He doesn't make you feel like he's trying to cater to black folks. He just makes you feel like he is one of us and he understands us. You know what I'm saying? He did a great job. I've seen some films where I'm like, yo, they pandering. Like, this is OD, this extra, this ain't really what it is. But this is very, very realistic, super realistic, man. They did a good job for that time period. There's a lot of things I was seeing. You know what I'm saying? Even during that time, there was two gangs that were at rivals at that time, and they did go to war. So it's like the fact that he took that and put that twist on it and made it seem like these twins pit these two gangs up against each other, I thought that was pretty dope, how he tapped into some history. Ryan Coogler is very, very smart, and if he doesn't know anything, he researches everything before he writes his script, and he does a great job. He does. So Ryan Coogler was challenging himself, and Michael B. Jordan was challenging himself as an actor by playing a twin in this movie. And so they both leveled up. So anyway, the movie was just really, really good, man. I think, it was funny. It was entertaining. They had a lot of great actors. They brought in Delroy Lindo. They brought in some old familiar actors that black people we know. As they were coming up, they were just killing it. When he brought them in, they were very entertaining. Delroy Lindo did a great job playing this old drunk that plays the harmonica. And when they came to him, it wasn't like he just said yes. He was like, I already got a job. He was like, I make plenty of money. Y'all gonna be here for a night, 2 weeks. I know they gonna be here for forever. And that's when he hit him with that Italian liquor that he had in the back of that truck. He said, we got trucks full of it. He said, we gonna pay you $40 a night. I was like, oh, this man can negotiate. This is very, very smart. Very, very well put together. I thought that they did a great job, Delroy Lindo. And then when they go get the big guy in the field working with his wife, I thought that scene was very, very funny. It was just a very entertaining movie. You know what I'm saying? Racism was around because they're picking cotton, but they make it funny and make it entertaining. And the characters and the jokes, it's just like you don't feel like you're watching a racial movie, even though racial things are going on and racial stories are told. Delroy Lindo was riding in the car with Michael B. Jordan and their little cousin, and they're riding in the whip, and he's telling this story, and it's just such a powerful story. They originally were going to take that out of the film, but they kept it in because of how much that scene meant to a lot of people. And it's crazy, I saw an interview where a guy was interviewing Delroy Lindo, and he said that was one of his favorite scenes. And he said that scene almost didn't make the movie, but he went to Ryan Coogler, and Ryan Coogler kept it in there. And so it just speaks to Ryan Coogler and how great of a director he is, and how he recognizes that certain scenes are so powerful you got to keep it in. And as the movie continues and goes on, they finally get the club up and shaking, and everybody's dancing and going, and there's music playing, and these characters are going in, and you have this character, this white lady that comes in, this white actress, and she is kind of one of those girls that her race is a little bit ambiguous. She's she has like a black daddy, a white mama, but she can pass for white. I think they call it white passing back then. And she was one of those characters that would, could be in the white world, but she was in love with a black man. And they couldn't be together even though they loved each other. And one guy, he was playing it off like he didn't really love her. He slept with her and dipped out, but really he really truly cared about her. He just knew that them being together could cause problems for her and him. And so, they first show her at the train, but she also comes back to confront him again because he blows her off at the train. And, he tells her how he really feels there. It's just a lot of powerful moments in there. Before that scene, one of the other twins goes and meets with a woman that he was also messing with before, and that was a very great scene. They lost a son. It was just very, very, very powerful things going on there. You know what I'm saying? You could see the duality and the mentality between the girl and him and how they both just thought about things different. She was just a different type of person that believed in magic and believed in different things that were outside of the realistic world. And he only believed what his eyes could see, what he could feel, and things that he actually experienced. They had two different mentalities, but they connected so well, and it just shows that opposites attract and they come together. And it was just good to see black love in this movie, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like it was like the most beautiful woman in the world. She was very dark-skinned, which is, we need to see more dark-skinned men and women in films, black men and women. I thought that was just beautiful. And, that he really cared for her, and they had their connection, their bond, and they lost their son, and they connected on that. And so when they threw their little club and their little spot, it was very, very enjoyable. They were dancing. There was a lot of music going. And then when it was time for the cousin to come up and show out, and I feel like the cousin is just as important as the twins. I feel like his character, he was like literally one of the main characters, like right next to them. And so when he has his time to sing, and I think the first time he sang was in the car, when he was in the car with one of the twins and Delroy Lindo, and his singing solo right there was incredible. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, even though he had a deep voice, I did not think that man could sing like that. When he first sang like that, and Michael B. Jordan looked over at him with this shock and this excitement, he could not believe he could sing that well. It was incredible. It was incredible. And when he performed at their club, there was this one powerful scene where they showed the history and the connection of the generations between how blues, which plays a very poignant part in this movie, is the music. This movie is sort of kind of a musical a little bit because there's a lot of powerful musical scenes in this movie. I'm not really a musical person, but this movie right here was just different. The way the music was played,
I'll try one dress.
Encapsulated the scene. It gave more feeling, emotion to the scene. And when he started playing that music and he started channeling the powers of all the different generations of R&B and hip hop, you see DJs and breakdance, and that was such a great, powerful scene. It was just connecting black people to how important music is to the culture and to who we are on the inside. It was just a very powerful scene. And then they even showed the Asians just dancing and their connection to their culture, and how the Asian culture has a lot of connection and inspiration from our culture as well. And so, you know, even when you look at today's time, you see a lot of Asians beat boy dancing and rapping as if they're black. And they take a lot from our culture. They take a lot of inspiration. And, you know, it just really shows how black culture has come a long way and how the blues has trickled down to rhythm and blues to hip hop. It was just a really credible and powerful scene, just connect you to the roots of who we are. And I just thought it was just super, super powerful. And I think that solo scene was just a super powerful scene. That was the scene where the movie kind of like kicks it off to where now things are about to change. There's always a part in the movie, and if you pay attention, there's always a part in the movie where something happens, and then right after when that happens, the movie starts to take off in a different direction where it becomes more intense and things start to really happen. Before that, you're giving characters and background and all these great things that kind of get you familiar with what's going on, and then boom, something happens, and now the movie takes off in a different direction, and it keeps rising from that moment on. And from the moment he played that music was the beginning of that. There were a couple small minor sex scenes in the movie that were very entertaining, that were like, oh my God, shock value. And I knew that people, when I watched those scenes, I was like, people are going to be talking about these scenes on social media. And, you know, from the scene where the twin is sleeping with the girl and she has to drop the spit in his mouth was crazy. The scene where he eats the girl out after she been walking, that was hilarious. She's like, I've been walking all day. And I love the fact that she stopped him to like say, hey, no, I've been walking all day. I haven't cleaned myself. And he said, oh, you beautiful. I just want to taste you. And I was like, that boy's a freak. That boy went in there and got down in there, boy. I know there's some guys that can relate to that. Y'all might go a lot, but I know y'all can relate to that. But yeah, it was just pretty wild. And so anyway, so as the movie progressed, we get cut out from the party scene at a certain point, and we show a character, and he's just like jumping from like what it looks like fields, and he's like smoking, and he's running in. And if you've seen the trailer or the teaser, you already know that there's like some type of vampires or something going on in this movie. And so when I see him jump out with the smoke on him, I immediately think, okay, this guy is our vampire. And he runs up to these people and he says, hey, they're chasing me, they're trying to kill me, I need y'all to help me. And it's crazy, it's wild, and they're looking, they got guns on them, they look concerned. He's like, help me. And you know, I'm pretty sure he's operating on the fact that he's white and they're white, and he's being chased by some people of a different race. And if you pay attention, if you look in the back, you see a Klans member outfit sitting behind these people. So these people are very, they're obviously Ku Klux Klan or racist, obviously. And so they let him in, and then the Indians show up and say, hey, that guy is bad news, you need to let him go. Of course, they don't listen to him. They tell him to leave. So they like, look, all right, man, that's y'all problem. We out of here. The sun about to go down. I'm trying to warn you. And so when the woman comes back, she find her husband has been transformed into something else, and he comes and they don't show it, but he attacks her. They do a really great job with this scene. This scene is very, very dark. It's very, very creepy. I don't know if I would 100% call this movie a horror, but it definitely has horror elements to it. It's very, very dark, and there's horror elements to it. You would probably consider it a horror because there's vampires involved, and because there's dark, and there's a lot of things going on with this movie. But to me, this movie is very multi-genre layered. It's got comedy, it's got everything. It's got action, it's got great drama, storytelling, and it does have horror in it. You know, it just doesn't just cover one genre completely, but horror is a very small part of the film. You know, it's a lot of things going on in here. And so there's a part where everybody is, they're chilling and they're partying, and then they come to the door, and these three white people show up with guitars, want to come in, want to spend money, and want to have a good time. But it's something off about them. They're a little weird. They are. And immediately the lead twin recognizes something is wrong with them, and he tells them that they should go somewhere else. We don't got time for it. And they're like, look, man, give us a chance. And they play this little song called Pick Poor Riding Clean. And when I hear this song, I laugh because the song is very, very funny. And it's also very bad. It's like, yo, y'all pick poor robbing somebody clean and thinking y'all supposed to get in here? Like, we supposed to trust y'all after a song like this? But it actually sounds pretty good. All three of them actually sound good singing. It does. But it's like these guys are very, very weird. And they're not of the correct color to be in this type of place. Anything could go wrong at this time period. And so the lead twin make sure that he doesn't let them in, which is the right thing to do. Do you see the other twin go off talking with his girl, who, like I said, is passing white? And, you know, he's trying to get that money. And I forgot to mention this, but early on in the movie, there's a point where the Smokestack twins and the cousin are behind the fields. And he tells the cousin to look out for the other twin because he don't know how to watch his own back. When I first saw this movie, I remember telling my best friend that right there is important. And as you watch the movie as it goes along, you see that he is 100% right about that guy. He does not know how to watch his own back. He convinces his passing white girl to go out there and see what those white people own so he can bring them in and get their money. The other twin is very aware. He don't know they're vampires, but he is aware something is off about them, and he knows something can go wrong. He was very, very smart enough to recognize, hey, if they come in here and somebody look at their girl too long or something, this could go left for us real bad because of the skin of the color of the people in here. And they're like, well, but she's white. Yeah, but she's with us. She's family. And see, that's that white passing. You know what I'm saying? She has some black in her, but she's part of the family. She grew up with them. She knows them, and she can relate to them. And so, anyway, so he sends her out there. Now, there was some symbolism behind that white woman going out there and talking to those people. And this was the beginning of the time when things go wrong. And there was, to me, there was a little symbolism in that scene to where you got to be careful when black men are dating white women, and they tend to set a lot of black men up to get messed up. That's been going on in the history of time for years. When you look back, there's plenty of instances in history, even dating up into today, where black men have dated white women and things that have kind of gone wrong where they've been set up. Now, in this situation, she wasn't intentionally trying to set them up, but when she went out there, she went to go talk to them. She knew something was wrong, something was off a bit about them, and she tried to leave. And the head guy came and he bit her and he turned her into a vampire. And she goes back into the club. She's having sex with the guy. She drops a spit in his mouth, and they're having sex. And the cousin shows up because the other twin sends him to go get him. And he goes in, he sees them having sex, and he leaves them alone. He goes back to get the other twin. He goes at the other twin. He's like, yo, well, I told you to go get him. He was like, I don't want to go get him by myself now. And they come back, and he's been bit in the neck. He's bleeding. The white girl gets out. She runs out. And a lot of people had a problem with the vampires leaving. But what you don't got to understand is the reason why she ran out is because she was outnumbered. And her people were outside. Something could have happened to her in there, and she would have not have been able to recover. That's why she left. She would have stayed. She would have continued, but she's outnumbered by too many people, and she don't know what could happen to her, so she dipped out. I also believe that all those vampires were hive-minded. I believe that they could be controlled by the head guy. And so I think that was very, very key. If you notice in certain scenes in this movie, a lot of the characters that were turned into vampires were talking very similar to the main vampire. So anyway, she leaves. The movie is taking off now. Something's going on. They lock the door, and then the brother is banging on the door, and they think he's dead. Clearly, he's been turned into a vampire. The twin is looking. He's thinking about letting him in. He's like, yo, let me out. He's going to let him out. He moves out the way. He doesn't let him out. And then he knocks the door down on one of the characters. And I believe it's the girl of the head twin. She throws garlic water or whatever on him, and then he burns and he runs out. Now, if that don't make sense to you, that he ran out after being thrown garlic on him, that should make sense. He's outnumbered, and now he's got garlic on him. He got to go somewhere and recover and get with his crew. He's got to get with a bunch of people. There's just a lot going on here, a lot of characters. The head guy that's watching the door, the big dude that was picking the field with his wife, he goes out to take a piss. He gets turned into a vampire. That Asian husband who you see at the beginning of the movie with the wife, he goes out for whatever reason and gets turned into a vampire. He goes out to his car to do something and he gets turned into a vampire. And so there's certain points in this movie where these characters are coming back and they're trying to convince them to let them in. Now, this is a fun fact about vampires. In vampire history, and I've never seen this in a vampire movie, there may have been some I might have missed where they had this in it, but vampires typically don't come to the door and request to be let in. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was very, very different. By history, though, they're supposed to ask to come in. That's literally part of their history. And I did not know that. I thought that was really cool that Ryan Coogler did his history on vampires, that they're supposed to ask people and get requested to come in. And I did not know that. I thought that was a very cool thing that Ryan Coogler did. I thought that was really, really dope. And so he continues, the movie continues, and it gets really, really good. There's the characters on the inside all eat a piece of garlic to make sure nobody has been turned. And then they have this scene where Del Rolando takes a piece of it, and then he's like, ah. And so now you think he done turned, but really he just done had too much to drink. And that scene was very, very funny and very entertaining. And it's a good way to break the ice and the tension of a scene. And then you get back to things going crazy. And so you get in the guy, they're trying to get in. You find out that the guy playing the guitar, the cousin of the twins, is actually the one that brought the vampire to the place. His music, and you see that powerful scene where all that stuff comes in, that magic comes up to the top of the building. It's what brought the lead vampire there. Then all he wants to do is come in there and take over everybody and control everybody so he can build and take over. And it's a very great movie. I kind of wish we could have got more of a backstory of the main vampire. This movie easily could have a prequel where we get to see the twins in Chicago and turn the gangs up against each other. And we could see the head vampire and where he comes from and his whole origin story. All that stuff could be done, and that could be pretty cool. But anyway, so as the movie continues, things go crazy. We get the husband of the Asian lady, he threatens to go get the daughter. And that right there is the key to the whole thing, because now he's gotten in her head. She's freaking out. She's like, oh my God. She was like, they could go attack my daughter. They try to tell her, hey, they ain't going nowhere. They just want to get in here. If they were going to go to the town, they would have went already. But she doesn't listen, and her child is the most important thing. And when it comes down to a mother and her connection to her child, that's super important. And it makes sense that she blew up as she yelled out to let them in. And then they come in, and we have this big scene where it's a fight, and they're stabbing. They got their stakes. They're stabbing the vampires. The only person prepared was the woman that knows voodoo and believes in vampires and all these different things. She makes sure they're prepared. They're stabbing up people. And you see the love interest of the leader of the twin get bitten. And so he stabs a stake through her heart and kills her, because they made a pact that if she was to get turned, that she would die. That way she could go and be with her son that died. And that was just a very powerful scene. And it was just a lot going on in this scene, a lot of action. And as this scene progressed, you see people go out, and you see the love interest of little Sammy, the little twin of the little cousin of the twins. You see her get turned. And then, I believe that Sammy killed her so she wouldn't turn into that thing. And then he runs out, and then you run into this crossroad where the twin is about to possibly kill the other twin who is now a vampire. Well, actually, no, the vampire twin is about to kill the twin that's not a vampire. And he can't kill him because of the little jury around his neck that his love interest gave him. And I thought that was really, really powerful. And so it's just a really great movie, man. It does. And so when the cousin gets outside, he goes out back, he hits the lead vampire with a guitar, and he messes him up, and you see him messed up smoke coming out his head. And so it's just a really, really great ending. Then you see him saved by the twin where he kills the head vampire, and then you see the souls go up into the thing, and he dies, and then it's no longer that high. I believe that ended that little hive mind with the vampire. And then after that scene, the son goes back with the blood on him to the church, and his dad prays over him. And then you see the leader twin, he takes down, and there was a very important point in the movie where the head vampire reveals that in actuality that the KKK is still alive, and the person they bought the building for was really tricking them and planning on killing all the people in the building. And so that was a very powerful scene. And so at the end of the movie, the head twin, he kills all the KKK members. It was just a really gratifying ending to the movie for me. I remember when I was watching the movie, I was like, wow, I ain't never seen a ending this gratifying. He was like with the Tommy gun just spraying all the KKK members. That shit was hard. I really enjoyed that scene. I thought that was just so dope. And so it's a great ending to the movie. And then you see the cousin, he goes off, he turns out to be like a world-class famous blues player. After the end credits, this movie is so great. A lot of people are really requested. A lot of people were requesting for sequels of this movie. There was also a very big distinction between the head vampire of being Irish and being different from other white people, and they were very racist towards the Irish back then and treated them like they were below them. And so that was very, very important. And so the Irish vampire, the lead vampire, he tried to play on that earlier in the movie to try to say, I'm one of y'all. We could all come together and be as one. And, you see one of the twins saying, hey, this is the freedom we always wanted. And the way he says it, in the accent he says it, he sounds like the lead vampire. I believe, honestly, that they were hive-minded until they were killed, and then they were separated. And so I thought that was just a really dope connection, that they connected, and they showed that. And that's very real history, that the Irish was considered, and they were treated a certain way and treated below the whites back then. And so, but yeah. So, the lead twin, he kills all the KKK members, and then I believe he dies at the end of the movie, and you kind of see a flash of him talking to his love interest, and she's holding their son that died, and that's their way of saying that he's going on to be with her and him in the afterlife. And little Sammy the blues player goes up to be this famous blues player, and then after the trailer you see the other twin comes in with his girl with the Coogee sweater to let you know the time period that we like in the 90s. Biggie and his girl come in dressed like Lil' Kim, and they come in with the swag, and then they go talk to little Sammy. This is a really cool scene. He's a vampire, and then you're like, wait a minute, he's alive, and you know what I'm saying? And I thought this was very strange. And because when you see the head vampire die, you see him go up, it looks like all the other souls go up with him. But somehow the twin and the girl, I don't know if it's because they were in the building or what, but for some strange reason, they didn't go up with him and they were able to survive that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that part. But hey, they were there. They talk to little Sammy. They talk about how the twin just couldn't kill him because of the connection and the bond between the twins, and how he left him alive as long as he promised not to turn him into a vampire. But he's hard-headed, so he gives him the option to turn into it and live for the rest of his life. But he decides he doesn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? And he's about to walk. They share a drink. He plays the blues for him. And then he asks him, was that the greatest day of your life? And then they cut to this scene where they show him and his brother hugging each other. He was like, that was the last time I seen my brother. He was like, that was the last time I seen the sun. And that scene was very, very powerful. It was just a great scene. You see the sunrise, you see the brothers together. And even though this horrible thing happens to all of them with these vampires and all this stuff, it's still the greatest day of their lives that day. I think it forged a path for all of them to know who they are and what they were going to do for the rest of their lives. And so the blues player, he goes over and does his thing. It was just a great movie, man. And so if you haven't seen the movie Sinners, check it out. It's a very great movie. A lot of deep things, a lot of symbolism, a lot of different things, a lot of stuff I didn't even touch on that you could really get into and go see for yourself. Just go check this movie out. It's one of those movies you kind of got to watch over and over again, because a lot of deep things, a lot of things going on with this movie. Great movie. And that's it.
What do you think that's a popular state rock?
If I had to give it a rating on how many popcorn buckets I would give it out of 5, I give it 5 popcorn buckets ratings. It was a very good movie. 5 popcorn buckets. Great movie. And so that's it for the real review. We out.